Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3 of my no quick saves, no knockouts, non-lethal, no nonsense, keto, Thief the Dark Project challenge run. We're going to be doing the second proper mission in the game, which is called Break from Cragscleft Prison. And in doing so, we will be introduced to a new faction called the Order of the Hammer. But let's just start by watching the intro cutscene.
I went to Cuddy's place to deliver the scepter, but Cuddy wasn't there. He'd been arrested by the Hammerites. Apparently they didn't approve of his occupation, and I doubt they approve of mine. So hopefully they'll never catch sight of me when I break him out of their prison. Which is what I'm going to do. They're holding Cuddy in a mining complex carved out of a quarry. The quarry's flooded, but the Hammers still work the top-level mines and have converted part of the complex into a penitentiary for those who violate their tenets. An associate of mine was confined there and has provided me with a map. It would be difficult to get in by way of the main gate, but there is another option. The mines break the surface of a hill south of the quarry. I'll drop into the mines and head for the prison, which will be found somewhere uphill and to the north. The Hammers don't venture into these lower mine levels because they're reputed to be haunted. I'd rather not have to do this job, but Cuddy's a reliable fence, and I don't appreciate the Hammerites abducting him. And he owes me money for the Bafford job.
Alright, here is our objective list, which seems pretty extensive, but thankfully it's a lot simpler than it seems. We just need to break not one but two friends out of prison, because we are on expert difficulty, meaning that, couldn't just be one. We have to break Cuddy, our fence, as well as our friend Basso the Boxman. I don't know what a Boxman is, but it sounds important. Here in the shop we have some new options. No flash bombs, unfortunately, so we don't have our get-out-of-jail-free card. But we do have speed potions, which are good for a quick getaway, as well as moss arrows, which I will get to when I need them. The speed potion is, it's like the adrenaline shot from Left 4 Dead. It pretty much just doubles your speed for a little while, and it allows you to make some jumps that wouldn't be possible before, and, you can do all sorts of things with that. And I'll spend the rest of my money on water arrows. We also have this noisemaker arrow that I guess Garrett brought from home. We didn't even need to buy it. And this is a distraction, pretty much. We'll see if we need to use that one. First thing we might notice here is we are infiltrating in the daytime, but don't let that fool you because the prison is dismal both day and night. As Garrett mentioned, we have to break in through the mines and ascend up into the prison proper. This is a very vertical level here. So we have our mines first, which have 4 different levels. And then there's a factory, a prison, and then the barracks and officers' quarters. I really like how Thief uses verticality, compared to its predecessors like Doom and Quake, which had very flat level layouts. This really explores that third dimension, and you can hide all sorts of secrets when you're working with, that Z-axis in your level design. Another cool thing about the verticality is that as you ascend these places that you break into, think Lord Bafford's Manor, which we've seen, you get closer, if you infiltrate a mansion, you get closer to the secrets and the heart of the person who you were stealing from. When you get into those areas that the guards really don't want you learn all sorts of things about that person. And we will be learning a lot about the Hammerites through our ascent through their complex. And it's conveyed in a way that's very organic. I'll mention it when it comes up. It comes up in several ways, actually, where we're taught all about these Hammerites and what their deal is. And I just love, how this game shows and doesn't tell. Doing a bit of swimming. As you can see, there's an indicator in the bottom right, kind of mirrored from where the health is on the bottom left. And that shows us how much air we have left. That's not going to be too much of a concern in this playthrough, I don't think. But what I do like is that when it's no longer relevant, it disappears. Love that about this game. Now here is, this is a significant change in scenery from our last mission. And this kind of is introducing us to the secondary game type of thief. We're not just going to be thieving, there's also, exploring long forgotten ruins and things like that. When I made the comparison to Tomb Raider in the first episode, I really wasn't kidding. And that exploration can be really fun, even if it's not as stealth-oriented. And a lot of rotting corpses here. I don't think we saw any of those in the last mission. And this corpse just groaned at me. More on that later. Even more corpses. Don't want to stay down here for long. Gonna grab this box. Because this is a good game, you can pick up boxes, or most things, and use them to climb. So what the jump that this game wants you to make is it wants you to mantle up onto this and then jump to that ledge and mantle up there. But the fall is probably lethal, and if not lethal, it could do a lot of damage. So instead, I can mantle up to that ledge where there is no risk of imminent death by using that box from over there. We are rewarded for our attention to the environment. Speaking of which, I just picked up some ore. I like how this game does rewards a lot. In somewhere like a servant's quarters that we saw in our last mission, you're not likely to find anything of value, but in mines you might find some ore. And that's exactly what we are finding. All the things that you find have a sense of place, I guess, that most games don't really make the effort to do. These are undead, as you can probably tell. They have creepy sounds and creepy models, especially for 1998. I mean, I love the gore on these guys. They're not too much of a threat. We're a lot faster and smarter than they are. But they cannot be killed, even if you try. If you try to kill them, they just come back to life, except under certain circumstances. So here we're learning some stuff about the hammers. You can tell it belongs to the hammers because there's a hammer idol here. This is kind of like an altar room. And they have a holy water font with a jar right there, as well as another jar of holy water. These guys are holy men, as you can tell from the Gregorian chanting, and they're not too big on the whole undead thing. And I think the undead have kind of just taken over the mines, but it shows that there was an attempt to drive them out at one point. Gonna go this way. I called the elevator because that's gonna be our ticket out of here when we're done. We want to make our way to the factory, right? Factory is the next one. It seems like we already made our way out of the mines. That wasn't too hard. If you know where you're going, it's not so bad. If you weren't sure this place was haunted, that skeleton was moving like a sentry from Team Fortress 2, and he fired his head at us, so yeah, I'd say that's pretty haunted. Some more goodies to pick up. And here we're going to have our first encounter with the hammers.
Striving to learn our teaching, there are novices still. But fewer, brother, fewer. Youths in this time seek to learn about gold and politics, not honest craft.
To be their loss when they come of age and know not how to accomplish aught of consequence.
Hammer will forge and fire. Chase away the hoofed liar. Roof and doorway, block and beam. Chase the trick.
So you can see these are some really pious guys. I mean, they just quote scripture in their free time, which serves a dual purpose. Not only shows us what kind of people they are, but it also acts as a bark. You know, remember when I said that the guards in the last mission never shut up? These guys don't either, but they're not going to mumble in the same way. You know, it makes sense that they'd, you know, just quote scripture instead. Now here, you'll notice that this guy's footsteps are making a lot of noise, and we can't have that, so we're going to use one of our moss arrows to coat the metal in moss. And when you land on that, it makes virtually no sound. And I want this little corner here because...
Clanky metal grating. I better tread softly.
Because when you hang out here, you can see this other patrol that's coming from this direction. And he can open that gate if he sees you, so I want to be very careful. So he just turned around, but I don't have a good chance to go just yet. Nicely done. That went about as well as could be expected. Great, that was a bit of a tricky section, so I had to hold my breath a little bit. That was where that other path went, with the other patrol. That's another way you can go. There are, I think, 3 ways to get to where we are now. 3 different paths that lead here. There was like an express elevator as well, but it's a little more heavily guarded. A lot of this game is just threat assessment and figuring out which path is the lowest risk. So here we're learning some more about the hammers. In addition to being a religious order, they are also the pioneers of metallurgy and engineering in the world of Thief. And we see them engaged in forging some hammers from molten steel, which is really cool. I mean, they have unique AI and everything. You know, they pick up the hammers and they drop them off in the storage over there. It's really cool.
Thou hear something?
Canst thou hear that?
Who's that?
I gotta watch how much noise I'm making. I'm gonna blow it already. And if he turns his back... Great. That's another tense section, and I got through it without any hassle.
Truth, I have never heard such carrying on as this thief's pawn Cutty.
One would think these scum had never faced tribulation in their lives.
For a time I thought Block 4 might never sleep again for his coughs. But he quiets now.
Good. Death or durance 'twill be the same for him in the end.
So I guess Cuddy is the newest inmate, and he is keeping all of Block 4 awake with his coughs.
Who made that noise?
So we want to head to Block 4. But this way is very tricky. There is a viewfinder camera type thing rotating there, and there's a blinking light. It's very risky, so I'm actually just hanging out here to steal a key from this guard, or from this hammer. And when I have that, that opens up my path a lot. So I'm actually going to go to Block 1 first. You know, that's a much easier guard station to get past. We have an objective notification. We have successfully snuck through the mines and factory to the Hammer prison. Wonderful. And I think we're just going to go straight to Block 4. Whew. Man, it's tense when you don't have quick saves. This is our friend Cuddy, but you wouldn't know that on a first playthrough.
someone come?
Oh, come off it.
There's nothing there now.
That's right. And I hardly made any noise, so give me a break. Now, in order to break our friend Cuddy out of prison, we need to get a little tricky.
And the builder said, you wail and natural peace. You ask it to reform itself. Nay, you tear it down and begin anew.
He turns his back for
So shall
some
it be
reason.
with all my children, whether they be stone or flesh.
Let's read his little book here. Alright, in cell number 6, as I said, is our friend Cuddy, the thief's pawn, and he's had his palms scalded daily, excuse me. So you can see that the hammers, enact divine punishment
Vigilance is our
on
shield.
these inmates. Like they really do have quite a lot of authority given their theology, I guess. So anyway, you might have seen that there were a bunch of switches in there that are used to open and close the cells. And if we were chaotic, we could just free all the prisoners, which I did on my first playthrough, but the prisoners will run away and be swiftly killed by the hammers, and I don't really want that. I think a life in prison is better than no life at all, and also it would kind of make the AI mess up a little bit. So what I'm doing here is figuring out, this is how you figure out which cell is the one you want. So bear with me, I'm just marking all of them. On the ground floor, there are 6 cells, 2 rows of 3, and on the second floor, there is 1 row of 4, which is on the eastern side, right? So you could kind of, we can confirm that here if we want.
Protects us from the
We have
swallow
7, 8,
past.
9, and 10,
Knowledge is our weapon, with which we carve
and we
a
have
path
3 there,
to enlighten the future.
and it's kind of hard to see, but there are 3 across from it. So we're facing north, that is to the west, that is to the east. So we have 3, 3, 4. And number 10 juts out past number 6 and
Protects us from the swallow
number 5, right?
Knowledge is our weapon.
So if we don't want number 6, we want to start at the one that juts out, right? Let me just draw it again up here so they're all together. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this, but you can draw on the maps in this game. Kind of cool. Alright, so we have this shape this arrangement that kind of looks like Mississippi. This is cell block 10, the one that juts out. And we want to go 1 space north from there, right, to be at number 9, and then we look across the way to get to cell block 6, right? This is 10, this is 9, this is 5, this is 6. 10, 9, 5, 6. I'll even number them. That's 10. Oh god. Gotta make sure that looks alright. That's 10. This one is 9. It's kind of hard to get the text to go exactly where you want. And this one is 6, right? So we want to go north 1 and west 2. But you can tell, whatever arrangement the switches are, that you want to do sort of like a knight in chess, how a knight moves. You want to do that pattern to reach number 6. I'll explain what I mean when I look at these switches here. So in the bottom right is the one that juts out, and if we go up 1 and to the left, we hit that switch, and that is for cell block number 6.
And the builder said, if the foundation is weak, do wail in natural teeth.
Kind of tricky.
You ask it to repour itself. Nay, you tear it down and begin anew. So shall it be with all my children, whether they be stone or flesh.
But this game really does just reward you for, examining your surroundings. Oof. It's hard to hear those footsteps because there are people below in the yard coming from sort of the same direction. So you kind of need to peek out and check. Should be safe. I don't hear anyone coming. Let's see what Cuddy has to say.
All right, old man. Let's get you out of here and me my money.
I would not have thought that
Afraid you're going to be disappointed?
Good thing you're dying, Cuddy, or I'd have to kill you for stiffing me. Again.
Snap, snap, puppy. But I owe you, so... Felix went out to the Hall of Quintus, down at Bonehorde. Left me his notes. The Hammers got him, put him in their evidence box. Loot collection, more like. Upstairs. Officers' quarters. Once you're up there, in the passage, if damp hadn't rotted my lungs.
And we knew that our friend Cuddy was sick, and he dramatically dies in front of us. Really quite tragic. But thankfully, that means that we do not need to release him, and we only need to break our friend Basso out. But Cuddy also told us about an evidence locker that has a map and some information on a job opportunity from an associate named Felix. So that is an additional objective, and that isn't too hard to locate if you know where to go. He kind of mentioned it, but it's not completely clear. Oh, actually, I want to go this way. I want to go to Block 3 next. We're in cell block 4, and I want to get to 3, and the way I'm going to do that is by going to the second floor and taking this passage, which is a lot safer than going through the yard. Just going to follow this guy here. So we don't know where Basso is, except since I've played this mission, I do know where he is. Check the book again, and we have Basso in cell block number 4. He's a firelighter, I guess that means arsonist, and he was subjected to branding. Yeah, these guys are really brutal in their punishments. I mean, very an eye for an eye, very, Code of Hammurabi. So if that is cell block 1, and that is cell block 3, then it follows that the one across from number 1 is 2, and the one across from 3 is 4. So we have our outer row of 3, our outer row of 4, and our middle row, that would be this row here, our middle row of 3, and in the middle of that middle row should be number 4, where Basso is. So we want to select this one here, the middle switch for Basso's cell. I found it very fun to figure out that whole process, so I hope that people who have not played this game, if even that puzzle solving process interested you, or any of this, I mean, really get out and buy this game. It costs 99 cents. When it goes on sale, at least. That was close. Alright, I guess I didn't alert him, thankfully.
Well, there's Basso. If he weren't unconscious, it'd be simpler, but now I'll have to carry him out.
That's right. We have to carry Basso out to safety. But he's our friend, and we'll do it for him. Gonna wait in here. This room sucks. I mean, like, you never know where these hammers are gonna come from. Whoa, that was a close one. So now I want to go to block 1, which is this one over here, and the one that I started in, actually. Alright.
Seems gone.
A lot of the hard parts are over. I don't have to go through the yard here again, thankfully.
Everyone else is out running around. When am I going to get my dinner? That's what I would like to know.
So the last things we need to do is we need to locate Isit the beggar and get our lucky hand of glory back. I guess it's a lucky charm that we lent to someone who has gone and locked himself away. I want to hide. I might have heard someone coming and I don't want to chance it. Look at the book. Isit is in cell number 9. He was a cadger. I'm actually not entirely sure what that means. He was giving a caning and sour mash. I also don't know what that means, but feel free to look that up. I know I will be doing that after this episode. Died 'neath righteous punishment. So they just up and killed him. You know, with their drastic methods of punishment. So if this one's number 10, this is the one that juts out. Number 9 is the one right next to it. Right above. And there is our hand of glory, and his seat is not looking so good. They've just let him rot in prison. You know, they don't even care. Didn't make room for someone else to lock up. They just let him rot. This guy sure loves to turn. We also need to make a quick stop up in the barracks.
Who is there?
Because in the barracks, there's going to be more valuables. You know, as we ascend, things get nicer looking. This guy is tricky to circumvent, though. Thankfully, he didn't seem to see me. All right.
This must be how they spend all those tithes.
Epic religion joke. But it kind of goes to show that the religious order, much like the nobles in this town, that they, you know, are so ideologically opposed to, you know, these guys are just as greedy and hold on to their wealth. You know, people are all the same, whichever side of the law you're on, whether you're ruling with righteous divine authority or not. I want to go this way. No, I want to do this first. Holy cow. Some loot in there I didn't want to miss. Now up here is where things get really fancy. And this is something that Thief 2, I think, does better than Thief 1. The art direction really conveys the opulence of the wealthy, you know, a lot better than this game does. Although I think this game is still good, you know, at least in the contrast where we came from, you know, Minecraft, and now this is looking a lot more, I don't know, like this, I don't know, this is much more like an office, I guess, or a private study. I've got a scroll here. Brother Keybond, I charge thee to organize a search detail for that jackblade Naman. Somehow he hath slipped his bonds, whilst Brother Inquisitor didst turn but for a moment. Now he hath scaped with half the contents of the evidence box. Brother Carpenter hath reported a commotion to the west whilst he was repairing the stocks. Start thou there. If the wretch be not found soon, doubtless he hath succumbed to the rigours of his interrogation. In truth, I wouldst rather find him in a search now than by the reek later, and who knows what may become of his mortal frame should he reach the haunted mines. Prison escapee, perhaps. Now this, we're going to do a bit of thievery. There's a patrol outside here, and I'm not going to go outside, but I am going to wait patiently by the window for him to stop by. I think I have to catch him on the way down. If you lean forward up against the window, you can stick your arm out and snag his key in the evidence box here. Maybe it's not an evidence box, it's just a vault. Better be careful on the tile.
A plague of these rats.
Okay, he thought it was just rats. And the majority of the loot in this mission is located up here. You know. I think it's cool when they do that, even though you don't get that IV drip of reward, you know, it just makes sense in world. Here, instead of something like, you know, a bed to sleep in, they just have a pew and a shrine. You know, these guys really are hardcore. But they do engage in a bit of vice. We have some wines behind the banner. Guess they don't practice what they preach. We are all down up here. So now all that is left is to find the evidence locker, which we're getting there, and we have to escape with our friend Basso. This part is a little tricky to get right, to do this without being seen, but I think I have a consistent method. He saw us, but he's not hunting for us. That's all I really wanted. He is hunting for us.
Where art thou, villain?
Not anymore, I guess.
It seems quiet enough now. 'Tis well.
This is where we dropped off Basso. And now we just have to be very careful about our movement here, because we are slow. You know, no speedy getaways while holding this guy. You know, this mission really does take off the training wheels. Also, I didn't know another guy was coming. Love the sound design of the prisoners' cries. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it's great. Especially since a lot of the voice acting was just done by whoever they had around the office at Looking Glass Studios, you know. Some of them crushed it, I think. I am going to wait here for... Actually, maybe I don't have to. No, I don't have to. Taking risks for the sake of more entertaining content. Now this, I've been here before. This is the thing that I deemed too risky, because there's that rotating viewfinder and the blinking light that you have to get past. But down here is the evidence locker, but it's kind of like... This is one of the things in this game that, like, it doesn't read as well as a lot of other things. Like, this looks like an oubliette to me, and this guy's dead down here. Maybe that is what it is, but I don't know. Some treasure. Cuddy referred to it as loot collection, which is some stuff that the Hammers are keeping for themselves. But here we have...
Cuddy won't be needing this anymore.
Felix's notes about our next job. This is one of the missions that kind of leads into the next really well. Here we get the intel on what we're going to be doing next, so I'm going to go ahead and read that. Cuddy, I got me a big one, I does. The Horn of Quintus, Cuddy. I can be paying off some debts with this one, believe you me. I got me a map, drawn by some dead old bugger, which shows a way in. I know it's down there in the Bone Horde, just like they always said. They say what that the dead walk down there, but it's worth the risk now, ain't it? The way I hears it, the sounds of the horn echoing will lead me right to the thing. I'm leaving you a copy of the map in case anything happens to me down there, but more's the chance that I'll see you topside, making a toast with the finest wine to be had. See you then. Alright. So now we have completed all of our objectives except for escaping and not killing anybody. But so far, we're doing pretty good at not killing anyone. Perfect timing on that patrol. It's pretty smooth sailing here except for one little tidbit.
Someone come? Well, I see nothing now.
So we have to go back through the factory. Oh man, I'm scared. I've come so far, and I have no quick saves.
I do wonder what it was. It seems gone now.
Gonna wait for him to start walking in the other direction. Go, go, go. Okay. There's one more tricky spot after this. We're almost out of here. Sorry my commentary isn't amazing right now, but this is so scary.
I thought I spied something.
You know, the threat of losing all that progress really makes this one of the most tense video game experiences I've ever played, honestly.
That protects us from the squalid past. Knowledge is our weapon, with which we carve a path.
Okay. Let's see what I have here. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this healing potion. Actually, okay. I want to be able to access my speed potion right away. Well, that's quick enough, I guess.
Who passes there?
Oh, too early.
Come out again, whoever thou be.
Oh, come on.
Vigilance is our shield that protects us from the squalid past.
Needs must I come my hair.
I really hope this guy turns around. Okay, this guy seems done pursuing me, thankfully. So we'll take our friend Basso with us. Thankfully, if I get caught, it's not necessarily game over. When you're in the prison, if they catch you, they can sound the alarm, and that is very hard to come back from.
If thou be there, bespeak thyself. All is quiet now.
So I'm securing my escape route first before I do it. It's going to involve some of these moss arrows. Yeah, this part is really scary. Somehow he didn't see me. Just gonna wait right here. I want to be able to access that speed potion really quick and then just gun it. I think he's going to come back up this way. And when he passes me,
I know not what it was.
I'm gonna try. Brilliant. Oh man. Alright. I don't want to jinx it or anything, but I think the hard part is over. Just coming right back out the way we came. I think we're just going to go exactly the path that we came from. I think that makes the most sense, doesn't it? All the while watching out for undead. Let's take a speed potion just so this part doesn't take quite so long. Excuse me. And here is our elevator out of there. I'm going to go to the 3rd floor. And make our daring escape. Hopefully not falling to our deaths if we can help it. Oh man, that was nerve-wracking, but I feel the tension falling away. All that's left is to successfully descend these ladders. They do behave, but I just expect it to... I expect them to screw up and send me falling to my death. Alright, there's the light at the end of the tunnel. We have successfully rescued one of 2 of our friends, but with Cuddy it just couldn't be helped. And right there is where we started. The deed is done. Man, the challenge is already really starting to ramp up. I've been doing practice runs and resetting whenever I screw up, and that one took me a few tries. I figured people don't really want to see the failed attempts, but I guess leave a comment if you think that this content would be better with the failed attempts included. But anywho, We completed it without any combat alerts. The alarm never sounded in the prison, which is crucial to your success in this mission, because if the alarm sounds, they never stop hunting you down. So we managed to complete all of these objectives, and I think we got lucky a few times. Had a few close calls there. Alright, here are our stats. Our total time for this mission was 34 minutes and 14 seconds. Not bad, considering my first time this took me a few hours. Found 1,613 loot out of 1,688. So we only missed probably one or two things. Although I know where one of those loot items is, and I'm not sure how to safely get it. We picked 3 out of 11 pockets. I think those are all keys that you can get, and they're just duplicate keys, so there's no reason to do that. 0 backstabs and 0 knockouts. Proud to say it. I'm also proud to say that we have dealt and taken 0 damage, and healed 0 damage, because haven't taken any that needed to heal. We've killed no innocents, and no others. And I mentioned last time that others meant undead and spiders. It also means guards. Innocents just means, like the servants in the last mission were considered innocents. A hammer is not an innocent, for some reason. They're an openly hostile guard. But an innocent would be someone who runs away when they see you. So our campaign totals are 1 hour and 24 minutes and 52 seconds for 2 missions in the tutorial. I'm not sure if the tutorial is included in that, but hour 24 for 2 missions, and 3,027 loot so far. It says we've dealt 34 damage and received 12, but that doesn't really sound right to me. I don't know, maybe I'm playing on the wrong file, but I don't think I am. I don't know. I don't know when that happened, but I'll go back and watch the last video. I think there must be some kind of mistake. Anywho, that's going to be it for this episode. Thanks for joining me on this tense journey. The next one isn't going to be quite as intense as a prison break. It's going to be one of those exploration type missions, and it's one of my favorite missions in the game. Easily top 3, this next one that's coming up. So, even though we're not going to be doing quite as much thieving, well, you know this game if you're watching this. Maybe you don't, but you probably do. You know what's coming. So that's definitely not an episode that you'll want to miss. Anywho, thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time.